Yes, my friends, the Philadelphia Eagles are once again at the center of the latest headlines, and it's no coincidence. The franchise is going through an incredible moment, and the main person responsible for that has a name: Howie Roseman. This guy has proven himself to be one of the most competent general managers in the NFL in recent years. And let me tell you, the fans are absolutely loving it. He's been making bold, smart moves, and most importantly, moves that are clearly planned with the long term in mind. It's like he's always one step ahead, seeing the whole board while others are focused on just the next move. And man, it feels amazing to root for a team that's being run this well. Before we jump into the first piece of news, I want to ask you something. What grade would you give Howie for everything he's been doing for the Eagles? In my opinion, he deserves a perfect score, 1,000 out of 10. I haven't been this excited in decades. Thank you for everything, Howie. A lot of people believe we're going to win another Super Bowl, and you know what? I don't doubt that for a second. We're going to get there. The energy, the confidence, the roster, everything is lining up. But we'll talk more about that in a bit. Now, let's get to the first headline. With the trade of Bryce Huff now finalized, pending his physical with the San Francisco 49ers, the Eagles are walking away with a potential fourth-round pick in 2025, depending on Huff's playing time and performance. Right now, it's officially a fifth-rounder, but it's the financial relief and roster implications that are turning heads. Philadelphia freed up $2.44 million in 2025 cap space and nearly $8 million in cash. And this is only the beginning. Pair Huff's departure with the recent post-June 1 releases of Darius Slay and James Bradbury, and the Eagles have now opened up multiple roster spots and an additional $6.4 million in cap space. The current total? A solid $25.5 million, landing the Birds right in the middle of the pack across the NFL when it comes to available cap room. That gives Howie Roseman flexibility, and if history tells us anything, he's not the type to sit back and do nothing with that kind of ammunition. Now, let's talk about this edge rusher group, because it's where the spotlight is shining right now. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio has options, but there's more hope than certainty surrounding this unit. Nolan Smith is expected to take the lion's share of snaps, and he's coming off a massive year 2 jump, going from just 1 sack in his rookie season to 6.5, plus 4 more in the playoffs, leading the entire NFL in that category. But let's not ignore the red flags. Nolan has had 2 surgeries in as many seasons, one on his shoulder after year 1 and another after tearing his triceps in the Super Bowl. He's back on the practice field, wearing a bulky brace, but those injuries are something to keep an eye on. J.X. Hunt, remember the name. As a rookie, he made a real impact, showing flashes of potential that have the coaching staff excited. When Bryce Huff went down with a hand injury and tried playing through it with a cast, it was Hunt and Smith who took over and thrived with the extra snaps. The Eagles are counting on Hunt making a year 1 to year 2 leap as well. Now enter Azeez Ojulari, a low-cost free agent addition. He's got 22 sacks in 46 career games and has shown the ability to get after the quarterback when healthy. But that's been the issue: injuries. It's a recurring theme with this group. Josh Uche is also in the mix. He put up 11.5 sacks in 2022 under Bill Belichick, but has only recorded 7 since then. Despite a solid pass rush win rate, his production has dipped sharply. Ojulari is just 24, Uche is 26, and both could be breakout candidates. But again, it's all about potential, not proven dominance. So let's be real. The Eagles are taking a gamble at one of the most important positions in football. There's upside, yes, but it's built on the foundation of if Smith stays healthy, if Hunt develops, if Ojulari and Uche can revive their careers, if Vic Fangio can scheme around their strengths. That's a lot of ifs for a team that wants to win now. Right now, if a game were to kick off this weekend, your starting outside linebackers would be Nolan Smith on the left and J.X. Hunt on the right. Uche and Ojulari would be part of the rotation, and maybe even Antoine Powell-Ryland could get some snaps. The rookie has experience and production from his time at Florida and Virginia Tech, and he could be another rotational piece. But if anyone goes down or underperforms, this pass rush becomes a legitimate concern. You've already lost Josh Sweat and Milton Williams, both key pieces. On the interior, there's hope that Jordan Davis makes a big leap and that Jalen Carter continues developing into one of the league's premier defensive linemen, but that outside pressure has to be consistent. Veteran reporter Zach Berman, who has deep ties to the Eagles organization and has authored books featuring interviews with Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, voiced what a lot of us are thinking. He said edge rusher was his biggest concern even before the Huff trade, and while Huff wasn't expected to be a major contributor, his departure puts the group under the microscope. Berman believes the Eagles aren't done yet, and floated names like Zadarius Smith and Von Miller as potential veteran targets. But he also introduced a much more intriguing name, Trayvon Walker. Now this is where things get spicy. Could the Eagles pull off a blockbuster trade for the Jaguars' former #1 overall pick? Walker isn't at the same level as guys like Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, but he might be more realistic in terms of availability and contract demands. And at just 24 years old, he's still ascending. He had 3.5 sacks as a rookie, then exploded for 10 sacks in year 2, and followed it up with 10.5 sacks in year 3. His quarterback hits, tackles for loss, and overall pressure metrics are all trending upward. For Vic Fangio, Walker's versatility is a dream. He's strong against the run, dangerous as a pass rusher, and still improving. And don't forget, he's a Georgia Bulldog. That legendary 2021 Georgia defense included Walker, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, Khalil Ringo, and Louis Cine. If Howie adds Walker, you're basically reassembling the front seven of one of the greatest college defenses of all time. It's a unit built on chemistry, power, and familiarity, and Roseman has a known affinity for Georgia defenders. The Eagles also have the draft capital to make it happen. Thanks to smart trades and compensation picks, Philadelphia has a treasure chest of selections in the 2026 NFL Draft, including multiple third dash, fourth dash, and fifth rounders. That kind of arsenal gives Howie the flexibility to make a big move without mortgaging the future. Now here's the million-dollar question for you, Eagles fans. Should the team go all in and trade for Trayvon Walker? Is he the missing piece that could turn this pass rush into an elite unit? Or would the price be too high for a player who's still developing? Because when you start looking at Trayvon Walker not just as a trade target, but as a fit, everything starts lining up. His age, his steady development, his freakish athleticism, it all makes sense. And when you factor in the Eagles' recent roster strategy, this could be the move that pushes their defense over the edge. Howie Roseman didn't clear all that cap space and stack all those picks just to sit on them. Let's not forget, he's one of the most aggressive GMs in football, especially when it comes to premium positions like edge rusher. And with Walker entering the final years of his rookie deal, with that fifth-year option already exercised, the timing is perfect. He's a proven contributor who's still affordable, especially compared to what it would cost to bring in someone like Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons. And remember, Parsons might soon reset the entire non-QB market with a record-breaking deal. Walker, you're probably looking at $30 to $35 million per year. That's still big money, but for a young, ascending player who could be a foundational piece for the next 5 years, that's a price tag Philly can live with, especially since most of their big offensive stars are locked up through 2028 and beyond. But this move would be about more than just numbers, it's about vision. Pairing Walker with players he already has chemistry with, like Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Nolan Smith, could create one of the most dominant, homegrown defensive fronts we've ever seen. And let's be honest, the Eagles aren't just trying to get to the playoffs. They're trying to dominate. They're trying to get back to the Super Bowl and finish the job. Look back at the last few years. Every time the Eagles have made a serious run, it's been driven by a violent, disruptive pass rush. When they won Super Bowl 52, the D-line wrecked games. When they returned to the Super Bowl in 2022, they led the league in sacks. But in 2024, the pressure was inconsistent.